how many boxers, come from wealthy families, right? Like,
No, absolutely.
I don't know any.
Yeah.
Like all the rich guys want to be us. Right?
Yeah.
Right? They wish that they could do what we do, but it doesn't make any sense to do it.
Am I gonna go?
When you were on the show, do you have any like cool stories of or anything you learned or anything you took away from Forrest or Rampage? Was there anything you haven't talked about before, like some little tidbit of information they gave you or some?
I learned basically nothing from Rampage.
Gotta explode a door.
Yeah.
Like,
And I love the guy. I'm friends with Rampage. I just did his podcast recently.
Yeah.
But and he would admit it too. Like he was in a bad spot in his life. Like he was partying every day. Like our team would train first and then they would come. Like we were like 10 a.m. They were 12 noon. And or vice versa. I'm sorry. He was like 10 a.m. and we were 12 noon. And he was sleeping on the mats. Like we'd have to kick him off the mats. Like when we got in there, just like noon, while his team's training. So, and I was only on his team for 2 days. His coach Juanito showed me a couple of good things, but with Forrest, I did learn a lot, man. The main thing that I learned was that I was not putting in near the volume necessary to get to that level. Like the amount of volume, the way how much he pushed us was way too much for being that you got to fight 3 times in 6 weeks. Like you don't even need to push yourself for that much for that. But the amount of training that we did was absolutely insane. And I thought, man, like I have not been training right. I'm and I also realized that around that time, like there's no actual such thing as overtraining unless, I should take that back. Overtraining is so extreme, like you're not going to get there. Yeah. Like with your own motivation, unless, David Goggins is pushing you or, you're in SEAL Buds camp or something, you're not overtraining. It's just straight up, now I think the term can be used when you're talking about hypertrophy training, right? If you're trying to, get bigger, be a bodybuilder, I think it can be used for powerlifting when you're trying to max out your nervous system to lift more weights. But in terms of fighting, like you're not overtraining. So anybody listening, if they think they're overtraining, you are not. You may be underrested, which is your own fault, but you're not overtraining.
Did having the cameras around you mess with you at all? Were the nerves there at all?
Day one, yeah.
Yeah, but you got over it after that?
Yeah, because day one we had to fight.
Well, yeah. Yeah, right. But still having a lot of people aren't used to having cameras on them, you know what I'm saying?
You get used to it really, really quick, honestly. Yeah. But day one, man, because we had to fight that first day, this is a fork in the road in your life, right? You know that. You're like, dude, if I don't get on this show, like no one lost on that and got back to the UFC. And it's pretty rare that happens, right? So like, you go out there and you're going, I'm going against the biggest guy on the show. He had some accolades and stuff, he's a wrestler and, you're like, this is it, right? I sacrificed a lot for this, right? And I moved back from New York, back to Ohio, or out of New York, back to Ohio. Hadn't seen my girlfriend in, however many months or whatever, because she was still in New York, which didn't really matter. But you just sacrificed a lot at that point, right? And this is your dream, and this is, you got 15 minutes to make the dream happen. Fight's intense enough as it is, right? But now's, it's like the Eminem song, like now's your time, bro. You gonna do it or not? And so then you add the cameras on top of that, right? You're like, dude, I don't want millions of people seeing me scared. Like I'm scared, bro. Like what the, so you're like trying to put on a face, but then you're like, man, I gotta just be myself too. And so all these things are going through your head. It gets intense, man.
Yeah. Did you have any beef with anybody, or is there any drama behind the scenes with anybody?
Well,
You're all living together.
Well, y'all seen the guy that kicked in the face with the skull, the dip, the lime juice in the dip and everything. He was the only guy that I kind of had a problem with. But what a lot of people don't even know about that particular scene was that was like 3 days into the show. Or no, I'm sorry, like a week into the show. And we'd already planned on me and him fighting. And like I'd never even talked to him before that. So like the editing made it look like it was way farther into the show,
Right.
which, you know, it wasn't like falsely edited, but it's just the way it works out. It was like a weekend, and like I never talked to this dude, and he's on my, you know, so I'm like, and he's already on my radar, right? We'd already discussed like if we win and we get the next pick, like we're picking me against him, and I was pretty confident we were going to win with the matchup. So he's already on my radar too. So I was like, you know, pissed me off. You know, I'm already fired up.
How did that get settled? You're obviously furious, which anybody would be.
I wasn't furious,
Are you
other than the
pissed?
fact that like I don't know you and
Right.
with my.
It's them being disrespectful.
Yeah, it was more of like, you know, almost like when I went to jail. Like I got to let these know, like I'm not going to be the guy you're with in here. You know, like y'all can with each other all you want. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to be that sheep with all these wolves. You know, I mean, you're like 15 other dudes in a house.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I'm not going to be the laughing stock up in this.
Did you ever think that this though? Because obviously us meeting you, and I know your demeanor in general, like you carry yourself very well, you know, and it's a guy that you could see, nah, I'm gonna pass with this guy. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he was looking at you, it's like, you know, like, and it's nothing bad. It's not,
Well, I don't.
maybe no, I'm saying maybe did he think maybe the roles reversed and he was thinking, man, this guy is the dude. Now I gotta like do what you were thinking to do in jail just to like
Maybe. I mean, I don't think he thought about it. I think he was just to be honest, and yeah, I mean, I think he was just you know,
yeah.
I don't think there was much more to it. That he wanted attention. You know, he wasn't a great fighter, so he just wanted attention. And like my friends did the exact same thing to me after the show all the time, right? Like it was like a running joke, you know. So like I had to keep my can on me all the time, you know.
Yeah.
And like I never got mad once, you know what I mean? But like it's your friend.
Correct.
So that's the only thing it was.
Was it weird for you to have people coming up and recognizing you, like when that first started happening? Like, what was your thought process when that started happening? Were you like taken back by it? Were you weirded out by it? Like, what was going through your mind? Because it's something a lot of people will never experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's interesting because it kind of goes back to like, you know, we always talk about like childhood. Like I didn't feel like I was worthy, you know. I didn't feel like I was special. I'm like, why are you talking to me? You know. And then that's something, you know, you have to learn to get over time, you know.
Yeah.
That's a process, you know. Some I still work with, you know, like it goes back to that old, you can be anything you want to be. You can be as powerful as you want to be. And that's a great saying, right? It's a great thought to have, but in reality, you know, when you do start doing big things, like it's hard to soak that in, you know, like you feel like I'm not worthy of this, you know what I mean? And again, you go back to like childhood issues, you know, like low self-esteem, depression, and all that kind of shit. You know, that shit kind of with you a little bit. You know, you're like, I'm not valuable enough to be in this situation. Why are you looking at me like that? But then, you know, I've learned to get over it and embrace it. And I remember myself being, you know, I stood in line for like 30 minutes to get a Vanderlei autograph one time. You know what I mean? Like I remember that kind of shit, you know, and then I'm end up friends with him and sparring with him and shit. And it's like, you know, so I want to give that experience to people that may never, that, you know, if that one moment that they get to interact with me means something to them, I want to make it mean something.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. When you were in the UFC, did you ever have like an initial sit down with Dana White? Like when you first were in the organization, was it? No,
it wasn't until I started doing pretty well, winning, when he finally had called me on the phone and and just like kind of asked about, you know, family and stuff, you know, like, and that was when I finally started realizing like, God, I kind of made it, you know, like,
yeah,
but I was nervous as I was like, Dana White's calling me, you know what I mean? It was a really awkward conversation at first, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's like, what the f- wrong with this guy? You know, yeah.
What's he like? Like what's he like as a person? Like,
I mean, he's a professional, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a promoter and he's a great one. and he's a professional, and that's about. I mean, that describes him through and through, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you get up to the upper echelons of society, with guys making that much money and building that big of things, I mean, that's just they're all pretty similar, very professional, and they know what to say and when to say it.
Right. When you're doing your first massive fight, when there's a huge audience, right? Did you ever stop and look around and look out at all these people and think, look how far I've come? Did it trip you out a little bit? It's got to be pretty crazy.
I never did that till later in my career. I never really embraced the moment, but I remember like my first actual UFC fight was in Atlanta, Georgia. I was the opener on the main card. It was a sold out show because I think it was their first time in Georgia, so it was a gigantic show. It was sold out, and I was the opener. And I remember walking out and just feeling amazing, man. Like I like more crowd. I like more people, more crowd. It fires me up more. The smaller crowds like the Apex or during COVID, and that shit fucked me up. Or
Sure.
even on the Ultimate Fighter, like I hated that shit, but when it's a gigantic crowd, I love it, man. And I realized it that night, and I walked out to Devil and Down Georgia. It's like the perfect.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they loved it, man, and put on a great show.
Yeah, you walk out some dope ass music, by the way.
Thanks,
So
man.
yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Nowadays with the UFC, there's a lot of fighters. Some fighters, not a lot of fighters. Some fighters want to put on a spectacle and talk the most shit, or can do the most crazy, extravagant thing to get attention. You know what I mean? You've always been a guy that was just like, I'm gonna get here, I'm gonna f it up. You know what I mean? Like you let your work, you leave it in the cage, you let your work speak for itself, right?
Yeah.
How do you counteract somebody that's, known for talking, and how do you deal with that? Does that ever mess with you? I don't know if you've ever been in that position personally, but like when you see all that, can you give your thought process of that as somebody that's just always a no nonsense, I'm gonna kill or be killed, and didn't have to put on the show?
It never bothered me. I get it,
Yeah.
why they do it. There's different types of ways to build your brand, right? Like you can be, like the GSP type that's just respectful and nice when goes out and wins, and that builds a brand. Or you can be the Conor McGregor type that goes out and does the annex and creates a drama. And there's more money in doing that. So I get why people do it. And I don't have anything against it. And it never bothered me one bit.
Yeah.
So, I would just, just stay myself,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, what they're trying to do, and what like Conor does very well, is he takes you out of yourself, right? Like Conor does that very well. Like Jose Aldo is the obvious victim of that,
Right.
where Jose had never pushed back like that on an opponent before a match before, right? And Conor pulled that anger out of him, and that's exactly what they want. That's what they're looking for. So obviously I work for Conor, and then it's like what I tell the young fighters. It's like you just got to decide who you are, and just be yourself. Like that is who Conor is too. Like I've hung out with them before he got really famous, in the bars and stuff, and that's exactly who he is. He's not faking anything. And then there is the Chaels and the Colbys who do fake it, but they obviously they have that in them too. So they're probably just, it's not even fake really. I mean, they're playing a character, but it's not even fake. Like that's in them. And if you have that in you, more power to you, bro. Go make your money.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, then that's cool too. Either way, you got to win.
Right.
Like no one gives a shit about losers, right? Like you only care about winners.
Yeah. You mentioned this. What was it like when you and Conor go out to bar? Can you describe that? You guys hanging out?
Well, I didn't really know who he was.
Like, what was he like though? Like, as a person?
When we went out, I mean, I just seen him at the bar. We didn't like go out together or anything. It was his first fight in Boston. I forget who he fought, but he was
The black dude?
maybe, yeah. It was his
Late-
first fight in
yeah.
America.
Yeah, it was I forgot the black guy's name, but yeah, he did
a
that.
Brazilian guy, right?
Yeah. He
Yeah.
pieced him up.
Yeah, pieced him up. Yeah. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but either way, he was very obnoxious and loud, and dressed really nice, and we're all wearing our warm up suits and And like I even said to him, I'm like, bro, like what the you wearing this shit for? Like, you're, and I mean, he straight told me, he's my bro. He's like, you gotta make money, man. Like, you gotta look good in this. I'm like, dude, you full of shit, you know. Then, yeah, he was right, right. So, yeah, good for him. But you know, that's my point. It's like you can be that, you know, like at that time that hadn't really been seen, right? There were some guys, you know, like GSP was dressing nice, you know, and then there was guys like Tito and you know Chael who were talking some, but no one put the whole package together until Conor,
Right.
and he put it all together, and you know, and also had to go do some great things.
Yeah. Now with yourself, you know, you fought Robbie Lawler, right? And you know, everyone always says, man, you sign the contract with Robbie Lawler, it's gonna be a dogfight. Now, forget that. Dude, when they fight you, it's like they're like, oh man, I'm fighting Matt Brown. Like they know it's gonna be a dogfight, bro. Like it's like kill or be killed. Were there ever times when like maybe it was harder for you knew that guys were not taking fights with you? Or
I have no idea.
Really?
I never looked into it. Like I would always tell Sean Shelby, like, send me an opponent and a date. And I'll just say yes. Like you don't have to. I'm not dealing with all the. Like I don't care if they're taking it, not taking it. I don't care. You know, send me an opponent, a date, and let's go.
it sounds like you were, you know, you obviously do. I'm saying it sounds like a perfect recipe that you were for the UFC. It's like, Jed, he's not even going to say no. He's like,
Yeah,
I'm in.
that's, you know, for them, yeah.
Right.
Not necessarily for me.
Yeah.
In retrospect, right? So if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't be that guy. That's what the UFC wants, right? Of course. I mean, that's, you know, makes their job easy. But there's guys that did lesser things than me that made more money too. So, yeah, I never negotiated my contract or anything. I did one time. I went to Dana's office. I sat down and I said, hey, you know, I think I'm worth this much. He said, okay.
That was it?
That was it. Yeah. We spent the rest of the time, you know, him showing me his Ferraris and, you know, around the office and meeting his people. And that was the whole conversation.
Do you think you're something I should ask for more?
Absolutely. 100%.
It's like, it was that easy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, to tell the whole story, so my ex-wife was there with me. Ex-wife, you know, and she actually had him put out a number first. This is how you're supposed to negotiate, right? And he put out a number. She said, okay. I was like, okay. Like,
we talked about this in the back.
Yeah, like, aren't we supposed to argue about this? You know, whatever. But you know, he knew what I wanted and gave it to me.
As you should have got it.
Yeah,
or more.
Yeah. I mean, I would have asked for more,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Were you surprised how easy it was? Or were you expecting like there to be a little bit of haggling or anything? Or
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I was very surprised, but I was happy with it, you know?
Yeah. You're big on the mind, right? Strengthening your mind and your body, right? Another opponent you had in Diego Sanchez, right? Back when you guys were fighting, Diego was always that guy with, you know, he'd come out screaming yes and had that programmed his mind, you know, and that I feel like your guys' matchup was just fireworks, you know what I'm saying? Did you know that? I mean, I'm sure you already knew. He had kind of the same warrior mentality.
Yeah.
And did you guys, I mean, how do I phrase this? Did you guys ever were you ever like, let's put on a show, like let's go for it or anything like that? Or was it just like, we just went in there and did your thing?
I only did that one time. That was with Chris Lytle. And that's basically, I think had I not done that, it was pretty early in my career. Had I not done that, I probably would have won the fight, you know, but I was just all about that, you know, and so I just said, I'm never doing that again. Like, so my mentality kind of after that was like I'm worried about me, not him. You know, I don't care what he wants. Like, does that matter? You know, I'm here for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, Diego, I mean, that was a way easier fight than I expected. You know, for me, it ended up being easy, and I thought he was going to be a really hard opponent, you know, and turned out pretty easy. Even, you know, the earlier parts of the fight before I knocked him out, it just wasn't that hard.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most savage knockouts ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, like when you watch his fights with like Clay Guida or Gilbert Melendez, who's a really good boxer, you know, and they had like hard times with them. I was like, dude, just like, because I remember thinking that, and then, you know, you start seeing him move and stuff, and you're like, bro, this is gonna be, you're making this look real easy. Are you tricking me? Yeah. So you gotta be patient.
Right. Can we talk about him real quick? What happened to him with that guru that he was with? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you know anything? Can you give any insight or anything, your
I have
thoughts?
no idea, to be honest.
Because everybody, the world was just like, what the is he do? Like, what's going on right now? You know what I'm saying? I was like,
A
he's like,
lot of fighters are very impressionable, and that's something, you just got to know. Like that's just what fighters are, man. Like athletes in general, right? Very impressionable people. I mean, you ever heard of Joel Seedman? Like you guys are strength and conditioning guys, right?
Yeah.
Like look at him on Instagram, the phoniest you ever seen in your life, and the dude has NFL players in his weight room every day.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
see,
these guys are very impressionable,
Mhm.
and it's a natural because like we're at when you're coming up in athletics, your mindset is like I would do anything, whatever it is, if it's that crazy, like I'll do it, like I don't care, right? If it's some whack job and and everybody in the world thinks it's crazy, like I'll do it if I think it's going to help me win. So all they have to do is convince you that this is going to help you win, and and we've seen it, right?
Right. No, absolutely.
who is the toughest, in your opinion, your toughest opponent? Who is the one guy?
Lawler.
Really?
Mhm.
Did you? Now I said that earlier. Like when you signed that, you're like, man, we're gonna do this, man. It's gonna be a banger, bro.
With
Like,
Lawler.
yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I thought it would be a little easier than it was. Like he was tougher than I thought. Cause
It's got a melon.
what's that?
It's got a big melon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, honestly, it wasn't even so much, just it wasn't. So like I rocked him a couple times, and it wasn't so much that he was so tough, but like he handled it so well. I learned so much in that fight. Like I hit other guys with the same shot, and you just see them start questioning everything. They're like, this is the beginning of the end. I hit him with those shots, and he handled it properly, like a warrior. He stepped back, regather his senses, move around a little bit, pop a jab, things like that. And that threw me off, because I was like, dude, I've done this to a lot of people. Like, why? Like, you're handling this well. Like, what am I? Like. So that was what threw me off by him. I don't know if it was necessarily just toughness, but it was just a veteran, true warrior mentality.
Yeah, because going through all the guys that you fought some bad dudes, man. You know what I'm saying? And like, not even saying like ground guys, so much like even just stand up guys. So like, and obviously you have great groundwork, but I don't know if you purposely do the stand up thing or just what your thing or you like to do, but you're fighting guys that are all like banging. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them, not all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you didn't give a dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what like Lawler, for example, is an example of a warrior versus a fighter. Like a lot of these guys are fighters, right? And they can go in there and do all these techniques and everything, but a fighter can be stopped when you hit them hard, right? But a warrior knows how to handle that adversity and work through it.
Mhm.
And that's just to me just the difference, and you'll see it now that I said that, and you start watching fights, and you'll see how guys change, when they get hit the wrong way or or something happens to them. And again, it's just the difference between a fighter and a warrior.
Absolutely.
How do you program yourself to be able to deal with that adversity and not let it throw you off? Do you do any kind of exercises or anything that you do or is it just within you?
There's no exercises.
Like,
I expect adversity. I think that's probably one of the bigger things is, like I anticipate going through hard. Like I don't go into a fight expecting it to be easy. I go into a fight expecting either to die or, this is going to be a complete war, right? And I'm going to have to walk through the fire. And when that doesn't happen, that's great. But when it does happen, it's like, okay, well, this is what I expected anyway. And it's like one of the things I tell my fighters all the time, right? Well, we're going through like a hard workout or whatever. Again, it's just a mindset, and sometimes they want to quit, right? Or, maybe on the stool or whatever, they want to quit. And I say, like, did you expect this to be hard? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, this is what hard is, right? Like, okay, you're there now. Like, if you thought it was going to be easy, then you fucked up. So if you go into it thinking it's going to be easy, you already fucked up. But you knew it was going to be hard. Here you are. This is hard, buddy. Let's go.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Now you came up in a time where obviously MMA is still just training in general, right? And you've touched on this before, and I think this is a great thing because it resonates with me. were you sparring hard back in the day?
Oh yeah.
You know, because I mean,
Oh,
I mean, you hung out with the dudes, right? Like, well, you're Hammer House, right?
not really.
Not really,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, but you've been there around them,
Yeah.
like, so it's been hard training, right? Or just in general.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I still train hard, bro. Like, I don't know. I gotta, like, my brain works great. Like, I'm part of a Cleveland Clinic study. You guys might have heard of it. Demetrius Johnson was just talking about it. It's been a 12-year study. I go out there every year, get my brain tested for all these things. My brain's gotten better. And I've sparred hard for years, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I still spar hard.
Yeah. I was,
And I kind of chalk it up to, like, I'm pretty good. Like, you know, like, I mean, it's kind of tough to say, but, like, I mean, I take shots in sparring, but, like, other guys are taking worse shots.
yeah.
Yeah.
My question, my more thing was when you walk into a gym initially and then you see people just that don't understand training properly and you're sparring with a guy right away. You know, I've had that incidents where I walked into a gym and I was a boxing gym and I start sparring with a guy I don't even know. And I'm like, well, you know, what percentage are we doing? And the coach's like, well, you pop him, he pops you. I'm like, I don't like this, man. Because he hits me, next thing you know, the technique's out the window, we're headhunting.
Yep.
You know? So, I mean, obviously, boxing changed. You know, Robbie Lawler stopped sparring for an entire year years ago and just watched it. Is that something you implement, like, is being
I've
a
never
coach?
done that. And I question whether those guys even tell the truth on that.
For
Because,
what?
like, they didn't actually spar and they went and fought. Like,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
Max Holloway said that. Robbie said that. I'm like, you tell the truth, bro. Like, I don't know. That sounds
I feel like you
silly
still
to
have to
me.
spar no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if it's slight movement.
And there's, you know, I don't like the percentage thing. You know, I don't really promote that to my fighters. I don't like saying, you know, we're going 50% or 60% because, like, your 50% might be different than mine. You know, I'm actually working on a course right now on, like, how to spar properly. Like, I've never went 100% in sparring in my life. So, you know, when we say hard, like, I've never went that hard, right? I've had guys go that hard on me, and I've literally taken off my gloves and say, look, if you want to fight, we can go outside and fight. Like, that's fine. Like, if you want to spar, we're sparring. And I'm gonna wear gloves if I'm sparring. If you want to fight, I'm not wearing gloves. Like, you know, and
Well, we're fighting.
yeah, like, I'll bite your dick. You know, like
Playbook is out the window.
yeah, yeah. So that's and that's why you know, it kind of goes back to, like, why I don't really like the percentages. You know, because someone like if you go, like, with a heavyweight, right? He's going 50%. Like, he still you up,
Right.
right? But, like, no one can gauge a percentage. Like, it's impossible.
100%.
Yeah, you can't actually gauge it. So again, I'm working on this course, and, you know, the thing is about, you know, recognizing when your shots are gonna land and doing it properly, not putting everything you got into it, but still maintaining the technique. And I think that's the biggest mistake is people will throw technique out the window to land in sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And now what you're still doing technique, you're just doing bad technique now. Right.
Right.
So if you just maintain focusing on the technique and not trying to land, you know, and when you talk about, like, light sparring, you know, these guys, what they need to learn is, like, patience. Like, give him the time to block. Like, yeah, throw it like you're gonna land it, but give him the time to block. That's what light sparring is, right? If he doesn't have time to block it, then I went too fast. Right. So rather than saying, like, a percentage, you know, it's kind of more breaking it down like that. And I've been working on this course for a while. It's very complicated, you know, as you can see. Like, I'm even trying to get that verbiage right in my head right now. But I've kind of built some systems and methods to build to that sparring versus, like, just this is what we're sparring.
Right. I think it's actually really good. Just from, you know, I know Matt and I've done he does a lot of martial arts. I've done MMA. Just like that type of knowing that. Because you can walk into a gym, man, and it's like, these guys are, oh, man, you know, what the fuck, man, chill out, dude. You know, like, you got to feel each other out, whatever the case is. You're like, I don't even know you, dog. We're not going to
Yeah.
go balls to the wall. Or let's take the gloves off and just figure this
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
you know, because it's bullshit.
Well, the
But
thing is, like, if you're better than someone too, you know, you're gonna recognize that pretty quickly in a sparring match, right? It's like one of the mistakes people do is that they take advantage of that. Well, I'm like, if I'm better than you, then I'm just gonna work my jab. I'm just gonna work my teep. I'm just gonna work my left kick, something like that. It's like I'm not gonna take advantage of the fact that I'm better than you. And now I'm not getting any better because I'm already better than you. Now I'm not getting any better. You're not getting any better. You're just getting beat up. So I need to focus on something and remove some of my techniques. So now I can just hone in on certain ones and get them better. And then you're going to get better because I'm probably going to land those techniques at the beginning, right? Because I'm better than you. But now you're going to start figuring out, because I'm not going so hard and I'm giving you time to block and things. Now you're going to figure out how to defend those techniques and how to counter them.
No, I like it. It's good.
You obviously have a shit ton of experience to be able to make that course. At what point were you like, I want to put this down and document it? I mean, was there something that motivated you to do that, or
Money.
yeah? Well, fair enough.
Hey, there you go.
No, and also to help and improve the sport. I mean, that's certainly part of it. But like, I sell these courses, I make some money off of it. And it's not, when I say that, people look at that as a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing when someone does something for money either, so, we could dive into that if you want, but, I hate when someone says like, hey, I'm doing this for money. And then people look at that as a negative thing, right? Like, money is value. Like, yeah, I want value in my life. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean, it goes back to, well, no, we'll jump into it real quick. And UFC fighters, right? I think underpaid, right?
Of course.
And you're putting your life out there. You're literally leaving your soul out there for people to judge it out of you. And that could put mess up with the fighter's mind if it's susceptible to them. And they're not even getting paid enough. So yeah, you should be getting paid for what you're doing. Yeah, you love it. I can love painting trees. Doesn't mean I'm getting paid for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From what you've learned and done in your career, and then implement it in something for you to sell. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. Yeah. And, we talk about the fighter pay. I mean, some of them are overpaid too, right? Like, some of them bring no value to the company and still get paid. It's, it's more once you would reach a certain echelon of the sport, it's like you're extremely undervalued now, and then guys don't recognize it, right? Because we live great lives. Like, for most of us, it's like, well, I could be doing this, or what, I'm going to go to the factory and work, so they're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. We live great lifestyles, and there's a certain amount of money that you make where you're living a great lifestyle, and it's not a ton, and these guys are getting that. So it's hard to get guys to fight against that when they don't recognize that they could be making 10x.
Right. And I think it's even hard too, and we'll just, 15-15, you got a lot weighing on your head, man. You're going into a fighter 30 for 30, whatever the case is. It's like, okay, I win, boom, I got it. If not, man, like, dude, I got to pay stuff. I got to, flying out. Like, there's a lot of expensive here involved, man. When that cuts check, man, and that comes home to me, it ain't like that whole fat stack is coming to me, and it sucks, dude. And I mean, I get why they do it for the business aspect, but for fighters, I don't think it's fair.
No, it's not a good business. And I tell fighters that, for someone to want to get into this sport, there's got to be something wrong, right? If you think about it, like, from just a business planning perspective, like, I think you guys probably have some business acumen doing a podcast, right? If you like put down all these different businesses, maybe run a gym, or maybe I'll, go to college and, get a loan to, pay it back by being a doctor, or, I want to be an investor, or want to do real estate, all these different businesses. Like, I want to go put my life on the line for $15,000.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy,
It's
bro.
like,
I mean,
it's like, no, there's no strategy here that makes sense in no way. Like, there's something wrong with them that wants to do this. But also, when we're young, we don't see that bigger picture. We don't see that business model either, right?
right. Yeah, absolutely. It's not even there.
But there's, like I said, there's generally like something wrong with people. I just had a guy, an amazing fighter. He's 6-0, professional. I think he had 4 or 5 knockouts, heavyweight, jacked. I mean, just looks good. He was a tight end at Ohio State. Really, really good fighter. A lot of high potential. And I had that talk with him. And he was one of the very few I've ever met in my life that was smart enough. He just got a job making over $100K a year. And he's like, bro, I'm not quitting my job for this. He's like, I'm not going to risk my life and potentially make money. He's like, I guaranteed to make everything that I need to make.
No, and props to him. I mean, it's a rough thing,
Yeah.
So I mean, even for people that ask, like, well, why do you do it? I don't
There's something wrong with it. Everybody's got a different mission, everybody's got different reasons, but there's something wrong with us, right? Like I went through, my story, like we talked about, right? I went through a very hard time and had nothing. And, but that was chosen, right? I could have had everything. I could have lived a miserable life, you know, owning a machine shop business and working on cars or, you know, tractors and whatever. But that wasn't my destiny, you know? So, you know, this just happened to be something that worked for me. Um, you know, and I think that's the story. That's why, I mean, we see it with boxers all the time. Like how many boxers, you know, come from wealthy families, right? Like,
No.
I don't know any.
Yeah.
Right.
You-
You
It's a
guys,
poor man's sport.
yeah,
It's tough to say, but I mean, who wants to do it? You know what I'm saying?
totally.
Unless it's
Yeah.
something there, you know?
Like all the rich guys want to be us, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They wish that they could do what we do, but you know, it doesn't make any sense to do it.
Yeah. I mean, unless you just love the competition, you love martial arts, you love being in battle. Some people are like that, but
Yeah, I mean, I love all that too, but you know, like you can do martial arts and like I do now,
Right.
you know,
right.
like and make a lot more money.
Yeah.
It's
you-
sustainable money. That's the biggest thing. It's not a sustainable thing. And you know, Dana said it right. Like it's an opportunity. It's not a career. He's not wrong. You know, it's kind of up of him to say it. You know,
Yeah.
be in the position that he's in, but
Correct, yeah.
but he's not wrong though. Like that is how you should be looking at it.
Yeah. But you know, to counteract that though, this is your life's work though. So it is a career. You know, it's your life's work. You know, I get it's an opportunity that the UFC is giving you this platform.
Well, the UFC specifically is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. But I mean,
because like you said, like my life's work, like my life's work is martial arts, and I expressed it through the UFC, and it helped magnify everything.
right.
Right. But my actual career, it's like, you know, I just retired this year. I didn't retire. I'm not in Florida golfing. You know, I switched jobs. Like I had my opportunity. I did the best that I could with it. And now I build an actual career, right? Sustainable income, you know, a IRA, you know, or whatever you know, 401k,
Right.
you know, like I got insurance now, you know, like,
Yeah.
like you don't, I mean, some people have that in the UFC, right? Like Conor does, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, there's like 5% at the most. You know, the other guys are struggling, you know, it's not a good business model.
100%. Moving a little bit, I know you've touched on this before, and you know, you're not retired, and obviously we just spoke about money, the bare-knuckle thing, right? That's obviously piqued your interest with the money, right?
If they would pay me enough.
Right.
Yeah, I talked to them. They didn't give me a high enough offer. I'm expensive now. I got a successful gym. I got gigantic plans for my gym. I got real estate. I make good money doing that. And I'm probably gonna get out of that because my gym is killing it, and we're gonna open more gyms. And I love having a gym where I have the opportunity to impact so many people. That's why I don't work with fighters a lot. Like it's not a fulfilling thing. Like I work with a few fighters. I think I have 3 guys that are serious guys that I work with on the regular. But I'll go to the gym after I leave here, and it's just right up the street, by the way. Um, you know, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna see kids that, you know, for example, just yesterday, a kid, you know, he won 2 gold medals at Grappling Industries last week. And this kid, when he came in, you know, he had a single mom, and she's like, he just needs a male figure in his life. Like, she's like, you know, this sucks. Like, he's just around me all the time. Like, he starts, you know, getting feminine on. He's like, I just need him to have some male figures. And he's in there every day, and now he's winning gold medals. And like, that warms my heart, you know, more than, you know, he was so proud, you know, just cheesing, you know, just wearing them around the gym, you know, these little Grappling Industry gold medals. And that warms my heart and brings me more fulfillment than if my guy goes and wins a fight, gets him to the UFC, right?
No, real quick, Matt. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You mentioned, I said it earlier about us talking about your, you know, your past and how it inspires people. And there's good people like you like that, you know, and I think a lot of fighters have really good souls. A lot of them, you know, they're just down to earth. They come through some, and they just want to help people, you know, and that's awesome for you to be passing that down to kids and just anybody for that.
Well, a lot of fighters, you know, I realized this when I opened a gym. Like, most of us, at least me, and I bet a lot of others, we don't have the discipline that we think we do. Like, everybody looks at it from the outside, like we're so disciplined, but it's not discipline. It's a motivation. Like this is like being a fighter is a great lifestyle. Like it is fun. Like we want to go in every day and train, right? If I had $1 billion, like that's all I would do. I would just go in the gym and train. I mean, I'd probably be helping people too, because I've found that, but they certainly want to help people, but they don't necessarily have the discipline to put in the work to impact as many people as possible, which is what I'm trying to do. Like I want 10 gyms in Columbus. Like I want to, in a perfect world, I could replace recovery centers, churches, schools, like everything like along the lines of how it helps people. Put martial arts in there, bro. Like all this other, it's all, bro.
Yeah.
I know some people might need AA, but come get your kicked.
Absolutely.
And tell me like you're gonna feel like drinking after. You know what I mean? Like go train for an hour. Or, these guys wanna, go to church and blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like, brother, this is the best church you're ever gonna get. The bonding you're gonna have in this experience, like when you go sweat and bleed with your brothers, that bond, you can't build that through sitting in a pew. You just can't.
And there's so many lessons that you learn with martial arts, mentally and physically. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
unlike martial arts helped basically saved my life, because it gave me a purpose and taught me so much. You know what I mean? It teaches
Right.
you how to get better. It teaches you how to get better mentally and physically. You know what I mean? And there's no, it's hard to find that kind of adversity than when you're going to a martial arts place and you're getting your butt kicked by a bunch of people that are better than you, and then you go through, you pay your dues, and the years by, and you get better and better and better, and then you grow, and then you help the next generation. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, none of us are getting out of here alive. You know what I mean? For you that owns a gym owner, that is a gym owner, you leave a legacy behind, like, and you impact so many people that you can help, make their future better by everything that you can instill on them when they're learning from you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's, to me, is a beautiful thing. And that's what my goal and mission is in life now. And, like I'm not a religious person, so I think a lot of people, I guess when you kind of circling back to like the beginning, right? I never been a religious person. I came up in a religious household and it turned me off. And so a lot of people are searching for like meaning in life, right? I believe there's no meaning at all, which is, most people are like, well, that must be so depressing, right? I'm like, no, that's what's beautiful about it. That means I get to choose the meaning, right? And now some people, that meaning is, Jesus or Satan, or, or whatever it is. But when I get to choose my own meaning, that empowers me now, right? So now that I'm empowered, it's like, okay, what are you going to do with that? And if you're out there to inspire others and help others, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Guys, let's cut to the chase. I made an ebook. It's got over 700 methods and strategies to build your YouTube channel, to get views. It actually works. I made this because over the 3 years prior to this podcast, I bought all the courses, spent thousands of hours watching all these YouTube videos, and none of them actually give you any information. This ebook has 700 plus secret strategies and methods that only top YouTube influencers use. I promise it works. Money back guarantee. Trust me, go buy it now. Half off.